this kind of a thing tears people apart. And it could easily tear your mom and I apart. I've seen it happen to so many couples. And I said, but listen to what I'm saying.
Welcome to the Maverick Entrepreneur Podcast, where business success meets personal purpose. Here we empower entrepreneurs to strike that perfect balance between massive growth and unwavering values. Dive deep into strategies, inspirations, and stories that ensure you set your foundation in faith and don't compromise your family on your ascent to the top. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Maverick Entrepreneur. I am excited to have my good friend, long time, I would say, bro, it's been a long time.
Why do you say it like that?
Well, because I was just thinking about it. Don't throw me off, man, all right? This is Dr. David Jackson. He is a serial entrepreneur, but we both started off in the trenches as chiropractors. I would like to call him like an older brother to me. He was outpacing me and started doing some radical things. Matter of fact, when I was a newbie in practice, I've been in practice over 22 years, so this relationship goes way back. I literally was so broke, I would knock on his door at night just to want to hang out with him and his family because I miss my family. I was starting my own business all on my own, and the truth is, I didn't want to eat Top Ramen anymore, and they had some amazing food and better wine. Matter of fact, I was drinking worse than $2 Chuck. Maybe it was like, Night Train or something, but he introduced me to the world of wines, the world of entrepreneurship, the world of, I already knew fast cars. But you introduced me to the world of leveling up your life in cars. We had a car connection, a wine connection, a lover of life connection, and a connection on really the core connection was, chiropractic. And, we're going to serve the masses. We're going to teach the world. And there's not many people that I looked up to in my profession like I looked up to this man. So I'm excited. He was just talking about the tables may have been turned. I've been interviewed by this man a lot on his different endeavors. And I finally,
Here we are,
get to invite you. So welcome to the podcast, man.
Excited to be here. Excited to be with everybody. Where do we start?
Are you? Well, they might not be able to handle.
We can't start at the beginning. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. We won't do that, but and they don't need to know all that. But you know what? They might not be able to handle because I know what we're doing. We've been through the trenches together. It's like we've been to war and have a lot of victories. Lost some limbs along the way, and they grew back. But what I love about this journey that we've been on a long time is I know what you're built of. You're a man with some grit, and he's a girl dad, and been married. How long have you been married now?
34 years.
To the same woman?
By the way, I feel naked right now. I broke my knuckle. Unfortunately, I took my ring off soon enough because it swelled up so bad I still can't get it on. But yeah, 34 years.
34 years.
To
Come
the
on.
same epic love affair woman, yeah.
To the same epic. What's the name of your business right now?
Epic.
Yeah.
Has been for 20 years.
20 years. Epic is 20 years old?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Can you believe that? I mean, I came out to the world with it in 2007, but I had established it before then. Yeah. So I started doing those interviews in 2007, bro.
No, wait, when you interviewed me on what were they? Success?
You were like 12 years old. Yeah. They were practice pros.
Practice pros.
Practice pros.
So literally, I do have to tell that story. So he owned Epic Practices, sold them. We don't have to go into his chiropractic history, but he got to the point where he's crushing it in chiropractic. Then you got sought after. You ran the number one chiropractic company, or at least the top two, Foot Levelers and CLA. Top two chiropractic companies in the world. But you were traveling. How many weekends a year were you traveling?
I was flying 300,000 miles a year, so pretty much every weekend.
So one of the biggest companies, but here's what I do. I knew it was eating you up because you're a family man. So it was deep down going against your core values.
Big time.
So you decided, even though it's prestigious, even though it's like stroking the ego a little bit, because you're on every big platform in our profession. You were speaking around the world, not just you were in New Zealand, you were in Australia, you were in Europe, you were everywhere. But yet it was eroding something that was really important to you. What I loved early on is family was everything.
And it shows it's so easy to get caught. And I've come up with this metaphor because of that in hindsight, because of the car analogy. One of my big programs is called Epic Accelerator,
Oh,
no
I
pun
love it.
intended.
I love it.
And one of the diagrams that I show people is that, you begin with a purpose, which purpose is there to push you through your pain, but you've got to have a compelling vision to pull you,
Yeah.
right, and give you that alignment. And then you have to have goals along the way. And a lot of people mistake goals for vision. They're completely separate.
Totally.
They're completely different. So the goals are the stepping stone. And the thing I forgot at the time was guardrails, right? Because I'm going fast, baby. And I'm going to lose some traction no matter what.
Yeah.
But a guardrail's like, all right, I need some paint, need a new fender. I can take it in and get fixed. But without a guardrail, you go off. And I went off the rail. Not in a bad way, but I just woke up in a hotel one day and I was like, I flipped up my laptop to say, where am I going next? And I just remember God just spoke to me. I just closed it. And I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm resigning today. My wife, I hadn't even had this conversation with my wife. In fact, I resigned. My wife was back here in California. We had moved to the East Coast
Yeah,
to
you were in
this
Jersey.
company. Yep. And I resigned and then told her. She's like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We're moving back to San Diego.
Yeah, we're moving back to San Diego. We're going home.
That's
And
when
I'm going to be home with you and my 3 girls and figure it out.
And how old were your girls at the time?
Oh my gosh, they were all in elementary school at the time.
Yeah.
So they were, they're all married now, and a couple of them have kids. One of them has a couple kids.
Yeah.
Third on the way in 3 weeks. 2 weeks now. Yeah.
Whoa, not messing around. But yeah. I remember that. And you showed up in San Diego, and that's where our journey began. It was like I figured out, like, man, I get to hang out because we had a really a mentee mentor relationship. I'd see you speaking everywhere. You knew I was a hot dog trying to bring all these people to chiropractic and trying to level up. I'd core at the time, chiropractors on the road to excellence. But what was cool is when you came here, you resigned and you walked away from a big deal based on your core values.
Yeah.
Based on that, that's it. I want to be with my family, which a lot of entrepreneurs can't do.
Yeah.
They're sacrificing their family just because of that ego stroke or that position or that power or the money has them so wound up they can't let it go. It's kind of like that banana analogy with the monkey. How do you catch a monkey? You put them in and then they won't let go of the banana. Right. How did you you just let go of it?
Well, you know what? It's funny that because I haven't thought about this in a long time, but I vividly recall that I was so disappointed in myself because you're right. I mean, I had everything. But I had left a really good practice, which was easier than running this company. It was more lucrative than running that company. But I was following my passion. I was following my purpose. Yeah. I thought my God-given mission was like, I need to help people. Like I've always just wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And I helped a lot of people like you. You've got a huge practice. You're an amazing chiropractor. You've sewn into so many lives. And I don't want to minimize this, but it's not big enough, right? Like there's more. Yeah. And so I was like, man, if I could help one Matt Hubbard, and he goes and helps another 10,000 people, I'm killing it, man. Like that's what I want to do. So I did that.
High purpose.
Yeah. And then when I moved, it just became like I got caught up in it. And again, not the ego of it, because I'm really not an ego guy, but just the process of it. And I was like serving. And my wife and my kids were amazing. They were like, oh, we love you. But I kept saying goodbye. And I just remember waking up in that hotel room. I'm like, this isn't me. Like I'm a entrepreneur through and through, but my number one thing I always wanted to be was a dad, always. And I'm a good dad. I was a good dad then. But I'm like, I'm waking up. I want to wake up with my freaking kids. I want to hug my wife and kiss her every single night. We didn't have FaceTime back then.
That's right.
You couldn't even you'd get on a phone call and it's like, but so, you just got to make decisions. But part of that is what the entrepreneurial spirit gives you because I didn't know what I was going to do, but I wasn't worried about it either. Like I knew that I could recreate. I knew. And it took, that went through a couple of rough patches with some bad business partners.
Well, you came back and you said, I'm going to do a startup.
Yeah.
So you went all in on who knows what the chances were, but you went all in. You sowed everything you had into doing a startup and it failed.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not going to say why it failed, but I believe why it failed was because I was following someone else's vision.
Yeah. Oh,
and
that's good.
And not that that's a bad thing, because there's leaders and there's followers. That's the way life works, right? Yeah. But I'm not a good number 2. Like it's funny because my personality profile is a helper. Like I like to help. But if I have a vision of something that's been given to me and someone else has a different idea on it, it's a big challenge. So it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Right. And then I ended up in my first and you were there for me, but I ended up in a real hole. Like you talk about
Real
an
hole.
entrepreneur going, man, that's not easy. Like, yeah, I ended up with $7
Yeah.
left to my name.
So this is the part I want to
And this is
talk
after
about.
making millions of
I
dollars.
know.
And
I
I'm
know.
not careless, but I ended up with nothing.
Nothing. And I was there watching a hero go from hero to zero. But this is what I want to talk about. This is for every entrepreneur. You need to listen. You need to listen close, because you may have swung for the fences, made a decision based on values, wanted to start over, do something. You had a dream, a vision, or someone else's vision. Maybe they enticed you to move lateral and promised you more time, more freedom, buy back your time, whatever Dan Martell's selling. But you're getting into this, and that failed. You had $7 left to your name.
Mhm.
I was there going, oh snap. And I was doing much better back then, and wasn't broke asking you for wine. Maybe I think I was bringing wine at this point.
Might have.
Yep,
Yep. Might
yep,
help me
I don't,
out.
yep. So then you had an idea in a complete blue ocean strategy. Okay, before even all the stuff that's happening now with funnels. You were like the original funnel guy. I remember you were like, I'm gonna go put stuff on leverage with this Frank Kern guy. And I remember going, dude, you're crazy. You're a chiropractor. You need to stay in here. You're like, nope, I'm doing something. And then you went dark on me. You went like 30 days in a
I went
rabbit
dark on the
hole.
world.
You went dark on the
Yeah.
world, but I was like, okay, you're doing something.
Went into my laboratory.
You went into your laboratory. You dug deep because your purpose was to still help the masses. Your purpose didn't change.
No.
Your values on family didn't change. You just reinvented yourself, and you didn't listen to anybody in our field.
Thank goodness, because they all told me I was nuts.
They told you were nuts. And I loved it because I was watching you. I would use the word perturbate.
Mm-hmm.
You were perturbate. You were
just right underneath the surface.
And I could just feel something shaking. I go, oh crap, oh crap. But how shocking were you? So tell everybody, you were the original OG of online marketing.
Well, I feel like, I follow you. I've known you forever. I follow the Maverick and I know what's going on. And I also understand the heart of an entrepreneur and also the fears. We're not fearless. We don't, people are like, oh, entrepreneurs just, make reckless decisions. No, we're completely the opposite. So I ended up I was in a beautiful home, right? Gated community. You've been, that's where you used to come over, sit in the backyard by the fireplace,
I still drive over there just to reminisce.
Drink our several $100 bottles of wine. I end up in a foreclosed on the house, living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 daughters with, I'll get emotional even thinking about this again, but with our outdoor furniture. It's all we had left. Like they took everything. I got up to go get groceries one morning. And I'm like, hey, babe, where's the Yukon? Where's the Denali? I parked it right out front. I think someone stole our car. And she's like, I don't think it was stolen. I was like, oh my God, you're kidding me. Repossessed. I mean, I lost everything, dude. I'm not kidding when I said $7. So I went into the fetal position, literally, when that happened that day. I didn't go to the store. Obviously, I couldn't walk. We had no other cars. And I went upstairs and I laid in my bed for 3 days and just cried. Just felt sorry for myself. Victim. Had every right to be. I mean, it was not fair from the world, from this person, from my business partner. It wasn't fair, but it is what it is. And I sat there and thank God the love of a good woman, she let me, she just fed me and kept me and cuddled me and it's going to be okay. No, it's not. And 3 days later, she goes, all right, big boy, what are you going to do? That was it. Literally, that was her words. Okay, all right, big boy, it's long enough. What are you going to do? Like, man up. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I had been following some marketing, and this is early on. And I'm pretty good at reverse engineering. So I had this idea. And so long, I'm not going to go into the strategy because it doesn't really matter. But what I did was I just put everything I had, which was no financial, but I had relationship capital. I called you. Yeah. I said, I'm going to interview you. I called Patrick and interviewed him. I called Baba. I interviewed everybody I knew, all my friends, Fab Mancini, all these legends in the profession.
Do you know I just found my interview? It was transcribed. You sent me, you got the free transcription if you couldn't listen live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I signed up for it. I just freaking found that.
Yeah. So I think the point is for an entrepreneur is I just did it. Done beats perfect. One of my mantras for
I've heard
30
that
years.
before.
Done beats perfect. I mean, I just was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue how to do this. I bargained with some guy in India to build a membership site that could be controlled through a password, which, Kajabi didn't exist. Kartra didn't, none of that existed. I had to get it built. I couldn't pay the guy. I told him I'd pay him out of the fees that I got, and he trusted me. And I was like, okay, great. So we build this thing, and God is my witness. I got all these interviews. I launched a free product. I'm like, I'm going to give this to the profession. I love the profession.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, if you miss any of these free interviews, it's
$99.
$97
Yeah.
if you want the copies.
Wait, what did you wake up to the next morning after you launched it?
So I wake up the next morning.
Oh,
literally.
Hold on. Don't be distracted. You need to hear this. Okay. This changed my life hearing this.
This is true.
I know this.
I woke up the next morning and I go over to my laptop and I open it up, and I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. I'm just going on faith and a prayer and some coffee grinds, so I log into my shopping cart, which I didn't know how to run it, which was duct taped together with some other membership site that this guy built, which I'm not technological. I couldn't even send an email at the time. And I look at it and it showed $128,000 in my account.
Ding, 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 ding. That's how many people.
And I was like, oh man, I'm in trouble. Something happened. Something went wrong. So I just closed my computer and I called I can't remember the merchant, it was Power Pay, or kind of like a Stripe of the day, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I got a problem and I want to make sure I'm not in trouble here, but something happened. I opened this cart last night and for a product, and there says there's $128,000 in my bank account right now. And they're like, okay, hang on, sir. Yeah.
So you launched the night before, midnight.
The night before.
Yep.
And by the next day, when I checked it, I probably woke up at about 10 o'clock because I was still depressed, right? And sad and whatever. But I was scared. Honestly, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to open it. There's going to be nothing, 128 grand. And my only thought was, that worked.
You called me a little bit disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
You told me, and I said, you did what?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I never forget the feeling. I watched you go from $7 in your bank account. You went dark. You came out on the other side. And in one night, after saying go, $128,000. I know you were peeing your pants. I was peeing my pants. But that was just the beginning. That gave you so much.
That was the proof of concept. That's all that was.
All that did. Now, where did you take that company? How much did you end up making?
So what I did real quickly, though, is I was like, okay, that's cool. Great. I'm going to go buy a car, get some transport, but get some groceries. Didn't worry about moving out yet. And I rented this little tiny studio. You probably saw it. Delmar, a little piece of junk. Like it was literally, it had like those signs like, do not enter. It's going to be torn down.
Yeah.
And I conned the guy in, the real estate guy. He's like, no, it's not for rent. It's condemned. And I'm like, just give me the key, bro. I'll give you $500, right? And he's like, okay. So I went in there, painted it real quick, and I put up a giant whiteboard. And I told my wife, I bought a bunch of whiteboard pens, different colored Expo markers. And I said, I'm going to go down and design an online program where I can teach everything that I've been teaching, traveling the world, do it all virtually. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm going to do it. Okay. And I'll be back when I'm done. And she's like, what do you like? How long? I said 2 or 3 days. Not, literally it's walking distance to my house. I wasn't going to come home.
Yeah.
Like I took a backpack, I took food, I took clothes, I took my pens. I was home an hour and a half later. She goes, you forget something? I said, no, I figured it all out. She's like, what do you mean you figured it all out? And I said, I just, and this isn't like a gift. It's determination.
Yeah. You were under the gun.
It's like, I am going to make something happen. It's my responsibility to help these people. It's my calling, and I'm not going to let life get in the way. And I just outlined this process, and I went home and I said, I got the whole thing outlined. Now I just got to buy a video camera. And I bought a video camera, not like these cool ones here, and put it on a tripod with a remote control and did it myself. And it's been a long time, but I've done $32 million in that company over the years.
Yeah, you heard that right. 32 million.
Yeah, not too bad. By myself with my daughter.
You did.
No employees.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
I've watched it. This isn't the BS factor. This is what a man on a mission with determination Did. So that's 32 million. I'll never forget when you went, because you've always been a car guy. When you rolled up in your McLaren, I almost peed myself because I was like, I remember saying one day, can't I have one friend that has a McLaren? I know people that have McLarens. I know second, third degree down, like, oh, let me get introduced. I just can't have one of my friends have a McLaren. And when you rolled up, I'll never forget. I was like, you're like, check out the exhaust. We were in Del Mar.
Yeah.
And I was like, just do it. You're like, what? It's going to shoot out the back. I was so pumped. I told my wife, babe, I need to level up my life.
I
It just,
didn't want to show you because I knew you'd run right to the dealer.
no, I didn't. That was spirit of self-control.
Yeah,
Because
you
I
did.
just
You did good.
realized
You wanted to buy it from me. Like
I-
when you're done.
I did.
Yeah, you
But
like
I'm
those
just like,
flames that came out the back
thank
of it,
God
right?
I needed some wisdom, because that would have been, I think I would have messed up my family.
But here's the thing. I don't know if I ever told you this, but as a boy, I had a poster of Bruce McLaren on my wall.
Of course you did.
And I wasn't like a goal setter kid, but it's interesting because I thought a lot about this. In fact, I was watching a TED talk about 10 years ago with a hero of mine, a legend in skateboarding. I grew up as a skateboarder in Southern California. I mean, I did pools, pipes. I skated with all the Dogtown boys and Tony and all those guys. I wasn't nearly as good, broke my arm 5 times. That's why Dr. Matt takes care of me now. But I watched this TED talk and they were talking to this guy who's autistic, who's the best street skater ever. And they were like, what's your secret? And his whole talk was something that blew my mind. He said, I didn't figure this out until recently. And this is when I figured it out. It was like, as a skater, all you do, you fall every day, all day. That's what you do for a living.
Yeah.
And you always get back up. And I thought, oh my God, I can't, in the hundreds of thousands of times I had fallen, but you just get back up and get back on. You're bleeding. It's like, all right, cool, go. Do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. Like any athlete, like any mom, like anyone teaching a child, like anything. But it just conjured up this spirit of like, I've always told my girls, Jacksons don't quit. And we all say that, but I'm like, I don't quit. And there've been times when I want to, times where I feel like, I've been through some recently, and it's just, it's like, oh my, it just becomes exhausting. But there's a drive, there's a belief, and there's a principle at stake that is, I'm purposed for more. And I didn't, the funny thing is all the money, cool. Yeah. I had a nice boat and nice cars.
Yeah,
we
what
traveled
was that boat?
What do you mean? What was it?
The yacht that you had down here. I want that name because I have some goals. And
well, it was the only one in America.
I know
so
that.
It's hard to find.
I can't find it.
Well, I sold it.
I know that, but what was the name of it?
The boat, they make sailboats. It's the Bavaria.
The Bavaria
Vertes is what it was. Yeah, it was a 47 or 49 footer.
That was so gorgeous.
And it was a beautiful boat, and we used to go to Catalina. But all of those things don't matter to me. I know people say though it's easy to say because you have money. No, they never really mattered to me.
Yeah.
The reason they mattered,
they had tax write-offs,
was they're good write-offs. No, because I love experiences. I like to create experiences with friends and family, and you're the same way. And I don't give a rip.
Yeah.
If someone sees me cruising around in my McLaren, in fact, I'd rather they not.
Yeah.
I do it because I want to put the top down, put my wife in the car, drive over the mountain to Palm Springs, go on the private racetrack, and just go as hard as I can.
And she loved it.
And she's the only person, male or female, that can sit in the passenger seat and not throw up. Yeah. After you go around the track. But there's a reason for it. And so I just think that, most people they get stopped by too many variables. And, I've always had a bit of a MacGyver spirit. And for the people that aren't, as old as I am, that means someone that just feels like they can build an airplane out of a toothpick and a rubber band.
Yeah.
And I guess that is a gift.
That is.
However,
perseverance.
It's more of the character traits that illuminate that gift.
Yeah.
Like perseverance,
well, you don't know what was in you until you got under the wine press, if you will.
That's right.
You were under that pressure, and they say pressure could break you or make you.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched pressure make you, and a diamond came out. And it's like, that coal just got squeezed hard enough. And I was, it's impressive to see how you reinvented yourself, and then you turn it into the coaching company and Epic, the business of Epic, and what you've done with that. And it was always inspiring to see you would never take no for an answer. You'd go find someone to invent stuff that didn't exist. And now what I'm watching you, even in this rendition. I remember I went to your, you invited me to come speak. You were doing epic seminars,
Mm-hmm.
and so you were filling out a room. How many people were in the room? 500, 600,
700, 800.
700, 800. And I just remember, man, I appreciate you. You could have anybody, and you would invite me to come speak. And I love the awards. You would have the accelerator, who would have the best, and it was a gas pedal of a Porsche.
Yeah, Porsche GT3 RS.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you had it mounted as a trophy, and
Mm-hmm.
someone in the crowd would win that. And then you had the brake pedal. Do you
Yeah.
know I just found it?
Yeah. Do you really?
I just found it.
Because I gave it to you once.
Yeah,
You won it once.
yeah, I won it once.
I had a client that her dad, she was in Minneapolis, her dad owned a junkyard. And I'm like, can you remember those old brake pedals, like on old Cadillacs?
Bro, it's
And he just cut off this gas pedal that was worn on the corner for someone riding the
Yes.
brakes the whole time.
Yeah.
Literally was worn on the corner from riding the brakes. So I was just like, this award goes to people that are riding the brakes. And it wasn't a shame award. It was like,
No.
we're all going to sew into you because, we'd give that to a chiropractor that was like stuck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want everyone to know you're stuck so they can all help you. So yeah, it's
But that's an experience.
Mhm.
You gave people an experience. Like, man, if I ever won that GT3 gas pedal, I mean, that would be sitting on the mantle, baby.
Can I say one thing though that I think is important as we maybe get close to wrapping up is that you got to use leverage in life as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You got to leverage, I leveraged the only thing I had, at least I thought, which was I had some friends that had knowledge. And I leveraged that. And I'm eternally grateful and would do anything for you and anyone else. But when push came to shove, and I think I've told you this story, but I'll share this real quickly. After we lost everything, it was Christmas. We went up to LA where my mom lives. And for years, she had always taken a $100 bill and rolled it up and hid it somewhere for the girls, right? For all three girls. And then that was the Christmas presents. They'd find it and they'd make a big deal about it. And so this Christmas was no different. The only person I hadn't really told what was going on was my mom. My daughters knew that they lost a house and had no cars and, things were different, but they were like kids. They were like resilient. And we were sitting in the house, in my mom's house, and they all got the $300. And my oldest daughter, Morgan, who now is 31, she came up to me and said, Daddy.
Your oldest daughter is 31.
Yeah, just sold her first house. Yeah.
Why do I feel so old?
I know, right?
Fudge.
Dude, my youngest daughter just got married, man.
I know
She
that.
got married.
I know, don't tell me.
So my daughter at the time, she's 10 or 12, 14. I don't remember exactly, but she says, we want to talk to you. And she takes her and her sisters, take me, and then my wife follows in, takes us to the room, and they all pulled out their $100 and said,
I remember this.
we want you to have this. You need it. You need it more than we do. It's been hard. And I just remember feeling like I could play handball on the curb, maybe, it was so low. I just felt like such a loser. I felt like I let down my family. I let down my wife. I let down my God. I let down myself. I let down my clients. And instead of victimizing that pain, I turned around and I said, so let me, first of all, you guys keep that. I said, but let me tell you something. This kind of a thing tears people apart. And it could easily tear your mom and I apart. I've seen it happen to so many couples. And I said, but listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Watch me.
Watch me.
Watch me. Your mom and I are going to get closer than ever. We're going to come out of this better than ever. And I used my own daughters as leverage. I leveraged them. I would never purposely let my kids down, never purposely hurt them, never not have them want to think of me as their hero. And no matter everything I've been through, I'm all three of their heroes. We have the best relationships in the world. I mean, it's the thing I'm most proud of in the world is my marriage and my kids.
Yeah.
And not because of what they've achieved, but just who they are. But that moment, I leveraged them and I just said, I will not. I mean, if you're looking for extra energy, you're looking for some reason. It's the same reason I became a speaker in chiropractic. You couldn't pay me $1 million to speak in front of someone, scared to death.
Yeah.
That fear like everyone else. I mean, I had it so hardcore. And the very first time I had a 19-year-old CA, that's a chiropractic assistant, my front desk that ran.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I need to do talk. I need some new patients. I need to set up a talk. And she set up a talk with 40 moms in an audience. And I freaking chickened out. I literally peeked behind the curtain, and I was like, oh, I feel nauseous. I can't do it. It was I got scared. Told her I was sick, told them to tell them to go home, and they did. I literally walked away. Came in the next morning and said, like, nothing happened. Like, I felt great. And her name was Bonnie. Literally, she was 19 years old. I'd given permission for her to call me on my crap if I ever did anything wrong. She walks in the door and it's like, I need to talk to you in your office. Like, she's 19. I'm the doctor, right? I'm wearing the tie. I used to wear a tie. And she walks in, grabs me by the tie. God is my witness. She looks me in the eye and goes, when did it become about you, you selfish bastard? And I was like, what do you do? You fire her? I mean,
Yeah.
I was like, I gave her a raise.
Yeah.
I literally gave her a raise because she called me out. And it was a moment in my life that changed a trajectory of everything. Be open to change. Because I realized that I was putting my own fears, which we all have. There were moms in the topic I was talking about, there were moms in that audience that were afraid their son was never going to say, I love you, mommy. Because they were autistic, they were sensory, they had severe ear infections, they were ADHD, whatever, this audience that they put together. There were moms in that audience that had already lost their relationships because their children were so challenging. There were moms in that audience that their kids possibly might not be there in a year from now. Who the hell am I
to chicken out,
to worry about how I feel in that moment? This is their moment. I work for them. It's not about me. It's about you. And as soon as I did that, it transitioned me to where I've been in front of 10,000 people. Doesn't bother me a bit because I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking about them.
Yep.
I'm challenge driven, man. I solve problems. If you got a problem, I want to fix it for you. I want to help you.
Let's go.
You know, and that's just, I think I don't care what your entrepreneurship, what your niche is, what you do. You know, when you realize that it's not about you, it's about the problem and the people that you serve, and you become problem solvers, you know? And we instead of looking at a glass as half empty, we go, that's a full opportunity right there. Someone needs my help.
Yeah.
Someone needs this new product. Someone needs this new service. Someone needs a better service. Someone needs a cheaper, more effective solution to this. Someone needs a better flipping mousetrap.
Yeah.
And so what an entrepreneur is the people that see those problems and they go to solve them.
Yeah.
And they put themselves out of the way. They don't worry about how much it hurts or how long it's going to take. They get the dang job done, you know? And that's what
get me fired up, man.
That's why we get fired up over this stuff.
You know, I just had this guy. I do onboarding questionnaires because, you know, I don't know everybody. And I sat down, I told the guy, and I said, honestly, you're doing it for the money and I'm not going to coach you. And he goes, why would you say no? I literally want to hire you.
I'm going to give you money. Why would you say no to money? Because you do it all for money.
Well, that's what he said. He goes, oh, I saw your house. I saw your car. You know, why would you say no to me? And I said, bro, you're missing. I read the questions. You're about the money. You're not trying to solve people's problems. You're not about serving. You just want me to help you make more money. And I don't see a purpose. And at some point, I don't want you to blame me because I am purpose driven and I coach people that are purpose driven. I said, it's not about the money. It's about finding people with purpose that I can help accelerate or help ignite them in a way that gets them on purpose even more and feel it. I said, I can tell when when a storm comes, you will fold. And he got so pissed. And I said, listen, and then I just invited this other couple to go with us somewhere. And they're like, oh, we can't do it. I'm like, bro, you're an entrepreneur. You've been to my goal setting seminar. What do you mean you can't do it? I've never heard a crack addict say, oh, you know what? I can't afford to get high today. Right. You know what they do? They go out and find a way so they can get their high. And I'm thinking to myself, bro, I know crack addicts that hustle harder than you. How are you letting a crack addict hustle harder than you? And he snapped out of it. He sent me a text the next day and he goes, bro, I'm halfway to my goal. I'm not going to let some crack addict out hustle me. And I go, that's why I know you're an entrepreneur. Most people, they say they want to do this. They say they want their life. It's all about the money, but they don't have purpose. As soon as a storm comes, as soon as they hit a rough patch, their marriage folds or they fold or, you know what I mean? They cave. And I'm like, it's not in their DNA. They don't know what to leverage.
And they don't understand the power and the purpose either. I mean, that's where all the power comes from. You know,
you taught me so much remember we talked about the gears, the gears of success and the mindset was such an important, the hub of all that was mindset. But most people don't want to get coached on mindset. They just want the outcomes.
Well, I get people all the time who go, yeah, I've already heard all that stuff. I don't want that. And I'm like, well, your life tells me opposite of that.
Yeah.
Because your beliefs determine your behaviors determine your results, and your results confirm your beliefs. So if I look at your results and you look at your results and you don't like them, it's because you got a bad set of behaviors. Everybody I know chases behaviors. They try to fix people's, even chiropractors.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to do this, start eating different, do that. But they don't actually address, like I do. I teach this concept when I teach a chiropractor, instead of talk about, OPQ or STA. When did it onset? What kind of pain is it? Is it, what's the quality of it? Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. It's up to an insurance company.
Yeah.
What matters is a belief-centered consultation.
Yeah.
Because they don't believe the power that made the body heals the body. They don't believe, because they haven't been taught that. It's not that they're dumb or they're wrong. They just haven't been taught that. And an entrepreneur hasn't been, most of them are still functioning off of beliefs that their mothers, fathers, teachers, and preachers told them 25 years ago. A lot of them are right. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are out. A lot of them have changed. Yeah. But what an entrepreneur has to do is you've got to be so solid and grounded in what your true premise is, what you believe, what your strengths really are. I know my weaknesses. I'm not ashamed of them at all. I'm not good at a lot of stuff, but I know what I'm good at.
And you're dang good at it.
And I know I'm best in the world at certain things. And that's what I try to leverage. But I really just believe that it's people that get confused because they try to change what they do without realizing that do still has a cause. Yeah. It has be. It's who are you.
Human beings, not human doings.
Who are you?
Bro, you and I could go for hours. Listen, here's what we're going to do. Because I know now you're niching in, and this is why you and I are going to do something big in the future. I hope you guys are ready for this. You're like an AI genius.
Well, I don't know about a genius.
Bro, you were so ahead of the curve. It's like you were early on.
I'm doing some pretty fun stuff.
You are. You were building funnels before funnel hacking or funnel live or funnel anything was even a thing. You're the OG. You have the proof of concept to prove it. Now you're doing the same mentality for AI, for business, for entrepreneurs, for success. So I'm excited. Would you come back and do a part 2 and you and I crack that open and then see what happens?
First, I'm going to gift you, I'm not done with it yet, but I'm going to gift you one of my referral bots that I'm making that any business can use.
Oh, dear Lord.
That makes the referral process automated, sophisticated, best in class. Yeah, I'd love to, because it's, a lot of people have opinions about AI. So do I. It is what it is. Use it for good. But man, the time saving and the ability to communicate.
So this dream of this referral bot is a reality?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I was working on it for 3 hours this morning.
How close?
I can't say yet.
Oh, I knew it. What a tease. Well, listen, I appreciate you. I miss this kind of conversation, and you are gold, man. There's not many like you. And I'm going to do everything I can. We're going to interweave. We've never left each other's lives. We've always been around, kind of supporting from the periphery. You know my purpose. I'm in my lane. You're in your purpose. You're in your lane. But there's convergence, and convergence is coming. And that's where like-minded things, when they converge, explode into a higher purpose. And so that will happen. I prophesy that. And so thank you for being here. Everybody, this is my friend, Dr. David Jackson. If you want to know more, how do they find out? How do they find you? Ask me. Fine. Done. Ask me. DM me. We'll get you hooked up with this man. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for a part 2 with this guy. And we're going to level up some AI, some referral bot stuff, and a whole new strategy on what's to come. We'll see you on the next episode of The Maverick Entrepreneur.